Test.
Testing. My audio's good. Tested it early. I just got this fancy. I'm not gonna move it because my sound's good, but like it's connected into my desk mic stand thing that moves around. It's so cool.
I like this one.
Yeah, it's kind of like that one, but not that one.
That's right. Fancy.
It's so good getting off the desk because I can then go rattle around on my hands. It doesn't make too much of a difference.
Yeah, and you can like do tutorials, like record stuff without
Banging it.
hitting the mic. Yeah.
Welcome to the Honest Designers Show, your transparent look into life as a modern designer. My name's Tom Ross and I'm the founder at designcuts.com, and this week I'm joined by my fellow Brit and hand lettering expert Ian Barnard, American retro design expert Dustin Lee, and the incredibly talented South African illustrator Lisa Glantz. In this week's episode, we chat with Dustin and Lisa about their ongoing daily creative challenges. Both of your hosts have been putting out a piece of design every single day for the past few months on social media, and the results have been surprising and inspiring. On this show, we talk a lot about consistency, practice, and the best ways to find your creative style. This episode shows you the nuts and bolts of exactly how to do that. Let's get into the show. So today we're actually looking at a real life case study, our very own Dustin Lee and Lisa Glantz, both of whom many of the listeners I'm sure have already seen. They've been doing these daily challenges on social media. So both Dustin and Lisa have been drawing every single day. And how many are we up to, guys? Do you know off the top of your head?
95 today.
95. Nice.
50 something.
Lisa, bringing up the rear then. But basically, for those of you listening who don't know, on the show, I think Dustin actually vowed to start doing this. We were talking about consistency. We were talking about practice makes perfect. A lot of the principles we preach in terms of how to become a better designer. And what I love about this is Dustin went and ran with that, and it's almost become a public experiment that everyone can tune into, get inspired by, hopefully, kind of just see the ups and downs, and he shares a lot of his internal monologue and that kind of thing alongside his posts. And then Lisa started doing hers. So just a shout out here, it is instagram.com/Hey Dustin Lee. Is that right?
Sounds right.
And then for Lisa's, it is Instagram/5 minute drawing. And that's 5 like the number 5, not the word 5.
Yep.
And definitely go check out both of them. I've personally been really inspired because I've tried doing this kind of thing myself. I think I went like 68 days or something. So to see Dustin nearing 100 and every day it's popping up on my feed, I'm like, oh, damn. And to see the improvement has been super cool. And my favorite thing has been, which we've touched on before, we've had several listeners do the same thing and start their own daily challenges.
That's been cool. A lot of people.
It's been really, really cool. It's been really inspiring. And so the reason we kind of wanted to devote today's episode to Dustin and Lisa's feed is just to kind of have that wider conversation about consistency and to actually look at this real world example, because it's great being theoretical, right? But I almost want to interview you guys and be like, how has it been? And hopefully that's something, if it's hopefully been a positive overall, hopefully that is something the listeners can perhaps take and try for themselves.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
I would say ladies first, but I'm going to say Dustin first, as you started first.
Yes, you started first.
It's like there's a joke waiting to be said right there.
I was actually, because we did on the episode, I thought he was going to start the next day and he didn't. I thought, oh no, he's not going to do it. He's not going to do it. And then a few days later, he's like, I've done it, set it up, done my illustration. And,
quietly, I might add.
I actually blocked it too, so you couldn't see it unless you asked for an invitation, and then Ian was like, open this up right now.
You shall not pass.
I know there's people who want to just post family pics and keep it private, which is fair enough. But I've never understood why you would keep a feed if it was something for your business to keep it private, because it's like you want people.
I know, it's like every stalker's nightmare. It's a terrible thing.
Oh, that's good, Tom. Oh, I like
All the
that.
stalkers are like, you're right, Tom.
Yeah, damn them. Yeah, Dustin, I mean, can you take us from that inception point on the show of deciding it up until now in like a minute?
Yes.
Give us like a sped up overview.
Yes. Okay, so I started it, and the first day I thought I made a big mistake because I wrote this thing, and if you look at the post, it's horrible. I just drew really bad letters, and it said like Ian is better than me. I just put everything I was thinking about as I wrote it, which was basically I'm horrible. You should give up. Ian's better than you, and literally that's how I felt. So I just kept going through it and doing it every day. And the great thing about when you do something is you don't realize how bad if you're lucky, you don't realize how bad you are as you're going. So I kept thinking, I'm doing pretty good. And then you look back and realize you weren't. But yeah, like you do anything every day, like I'm a testament to it. You don't have to be good at something or like have any natural inclination to be good to improve if you do it every single day. I will say it was harder than I thought. Some days it took 20 minutes and it was awesome. Some days I did something that took 3 hours and it was absolutely horrible. Yeah. But I will tell you, I get more of a dopamine boost now. Like when I actually start drawing stuff, it feels good and exciting. Mm-hmm. When I started, it felt horrible.
Okay, so a couple of questions following on from that. First of all, how do you find the willpower? Like you're a busy guy, you got work on, you got a new baby, you got a family. When you're sat there doing a drawing for 3 hours of your precious time, how do you handle that?
Well, I do it in the evening after they go to sleep. I dread it a lot of days, all day. And then I do it and it takes a long time. So I do it when they're asleep. And I guess what keeps me doing it is the social pressure of knowing like the followers built up pretty quick because we talked about it on the show. So there's all these people watching.
I mean, yeah, for the record, Nick, you're about to hit 1,000 followers.
Yeah.
Nothing pretty crazy.
Nothing to sneeze about or whatever they say. And then plus I have you guys. So I have these people I really respect who I have to see their faces every week. And it's just a lot to give up in the middle of it and have to walk into the show and wait for someone to eventually say something. So I think a lot of it's social pressure. And then a lot of it's you start to see yourself improve and you feel empowered.
Nice.
Do you make sure that you get time with your wife?
No, he hasn't seen her in 98 days. Or...
Between that new baby came in the middle of doing this and working on those in the evening, I don't see my wife nearly as much. It's been a sacrifice. I guess that's the truth. The truth is it's a sacrifice to do it.
Of course.
Okay, so what's it all for? Because that's a big sacrifice, and I know you're all about family. So what is keeping you on track doing it?
100 days isn't a ton of time. And I think that once I got going, I was just hit your 100 days and then have this on your belt, for the rest of your life that you did 100 days of drawing.
Mm-hmm. I mean, are you aiming for 365 though?
I don't know. Because this is the thing. I'm so excited after doing 100 days of this and seeing that I could improve that I'm what else could I do for 100 days? Part of me, a lot of people are like, oh, I like reading your posts better than your pictures, which I understand because my pictures are still not that great. They're pretty good, but not as good as Lisa's.
They're
but
awesome.
Part of me wants to write every day or try something else. So that's the other byproduct is that once you do something consistently for that many days, you start to realize, whoa, I can do anything for 100 days and upgrade myself.
Yep. That's very cool.
That's a good thing. I have to write it out.
I might have mentioned him, but there's a guy on YouTube called I think Mike Boyd. And he runs a channel called How to Learn Anything Quickly. And he will spend 20 minutes a day, I think it is, trying to learn it. And then he edits it into a video. And sometimes it normally takes between an hour and 15 hours or something like that. So it can take a while. And it's really inspiring because it'll be everything from riding a unicycle to doing a wheelie for 50 meters to using a slingshot and getting 3 bottles from a mile away, doing a Rubik's Cube, all of these kind of random party tricks and skills. And so I like that idea, to be honest. If I tuned in 400 days and you had 4 things which you'd nailed or certainly got a lot better at, that would be quite cool.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah, it's amazing how much better you'll get. You won't become a genius at what you're doing, but like I just feel more confident. Like, for instance, like I've done some covers for us. Are they as good as like other things like that I've done? Like, no, I'm not like going to become a great illustrator, like the genius illustrator in 100 days. But you feel like, oh, I can tackle these things. I feel confident enough that I know what my strengths are and I can kind of use those and execute something well. Yeah, it just feels really good. Honestly, it just mentally feels so good.
It's not foreign land anymore. It's like, you know it.
Yeah.
You've navigated it.
And all of a sudden you realize that it's not as hard as you think to be decent at something. To be fantastic is like a lifelong process, but to be decent at drawing or lettering or whatever does not take that long.
What I've also noticed is that how quickly you've gone into found a style within your work. And I think that's something that I think other people should be encouraged by, that it's through that sort of daily practice that you end up focusing on a style just through doing regularly. You know, we also saw that with Megladoodle. You know, she's definitely she's sort of found her style. And it's you look at the post now and look at the post when she began, it's completely different in terms of style. So if you're struggling, I think, to work out what it is, because I like my post for the Draplin thing was when he talked about, you know, you can learn from replicating other people, but at some point you're going to have to go out on your own and have your own style. And I think through what Dustins done is that's how you find your own style, is through the constant consistency of you know.
Yeah, it almost becomes effortless to start to see one emerge because your brain just starts kind of getting into these tracks.
Yeah. There's no magic formula to finding your style other than just creating as much as you can. I think that's probably where designers or illustrators go wrong, because they always say, "Oh, you're so lucky you got your style," but it actually just comes from just doing. It really is that, and your brain eventually finds exactly what you're saying, Dustin. It finds that groove that feels so comfortable, and it becomes like second nature, that you don't even have to think anymore. It's just the place that you go to naturally, and that's your style. That's your style.
It's a lot like talking our personalities. Like no one says, "What should my personality be?" Or what would be the best way for me to talk? You just do it a lot, and all of a sudden
I've been doing a fake accent all these months. I'm actually American.
If that happened, my world would crumble.
Hey, buddy, this is the real Tom.
That's terrible.
Okay, so final question then, Dustin. Could you perhaps talk us through the mental and emotional journey as a bit of a summary? So, I mean, it could be like self-doubt, but then finding the swing of things, and then a downturn, and then finding my groove. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay, so it started with complete self-doubt when I made the first post and had it closed. I thought about Ian a lot for some reason. And then when I opened it up so everyone could see it, it became public embarrassment. And then people started to comment a little positively, and then it became just proudness that I was consistently doing it, but not thinking I was great, but just feeling like even if I'm not great, I'm proud of myself that I'm one of the people that does things every day. And now that I'm reaching the end, it turns into, I could do this. I'm not amazing yet, but some days I do have amazing days. I mean, there's been days I've done stuff that I think is pretty great.
Yeah.
And there's some days that do stuff that's not so great, but towards the end, all of a sudden the confidence comes and you're like, you look at other people's stuff and you're like, oh, I could do that. It might take me a little more work or like, another 100 days, but there's no magic behind it.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
That's very cool.
Well said, Dustin.
I think it does definitely change your perspective. Because I remember when I was first learning and looking at some of the work, and I was just like, there's no way I could reach that level.
Yes.
And it was just so complex, and, I just couldn't even take in the whole piece. And now I've I feel like I can do stuff on that level. And I'm just like, it doesn't look that hard now. But I'm looking from a different I've gone up to the sort of mountain. I'm not nowhere near the top, but I have a better view. And I'm like, oh, okay, I understand it. But when I was down on the bottom, I was just looking, and all I could see was one side where I can see. But when you can see a bit better, you understand the sort of technical abilities of producing something like that, and you've done the practice. And I think that all comes through like what Dustin and Lisa's
Such a
done
good analogy.
through that. Yeah,
I like it. Halfway up the mountain.
there you go. There's a cover image for.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so spotlight over to you, Lisa. Again, for everyone listening, it is Instagram.com/5, the number 5, so 5-minute drawing. Can you give us a kind of 1-minute summary of how yours has been, Lisa?
It's been quite interesting because, firstly, I've obviously always wanted to do something like this, but I just thought it was impossible, given my time that my available time. I just didn't have free time. But Dustin intimidated me into thinking if he can do it, because he's got kids, he's got this, he's got he does what I do, he runs his own business, where's my excuse? So you see, I suffer from perfectionism. So there's no ways I could have just I just thought to myself, if I'm going to do this, I know it's going to consume me. So I need to find a different way. And one day in the shower, I just thought, hang on a minute, why am I putting so much pressure on myself? Why can't it just be something that's like scrappy and fast? It doesn't have to be so perfect. So yeah, basically that's where I came up with a 5-minute drawing. So I put a limit on myself. It's insane, 5 minutes, but it was the only way I could kind of get it done. And it's been a very interesting journey psychologically, I guess, and from a skill point of view. But I've loved it so far.
Nice.
Something that encourages me from both of what you do is that you put up the process as well as the finished thing. So for Dustin, he puts 3 things up. He puts the original sketch, and then he puts up the time lapse, and then the actual finished drawing, so you get to see the stages of what he went through. And same with Lisa, she does because she does it on the iPad, does the sort of time lapse of it and the finished thing. And what was really encouraging for me, one of my best posts is when you couldn't finish it, you'd run out of time. And I was like,
terrible.
Here's the person at the top of her game, and she still runs out of
Producing
time.
crap.
I mean, if you didn't have that process video, I would be calling you out as a faker, because I looked at the feed before this episode and I was like, they cannot take 5 minutes.
Yeah, I'm looking at them right now, and I was thinking, you should just start doing everything in 5 minutes, because it looks about the same.
Well, I mean, let's be fair. Some of them, as I say in the post, they're not 5 minutes. Like, I go beyond the time because I'm enjoying it so much. And I stopped kind of beating myself up about that, because the whole point of this feed was to actually draw every day. So at least I'm still drawing, whether it's over 5 minutes.
Can you rebrand as everyday drawing? Otherwise, that's false advertising for people.
But
you should have an asterisk by the front.
Yeah, I know. And what I started doing was actually posting when I go over. So I'll mark the 5 minutes, export that video and then carry on, kind of thing. So because I still want to show what I did do in 5 minutes. I mean, that's what people signed up to watch. So
I have to say, you've hurt my feelings, because I told you how hard it was for me to do hands, and you responded to it, and then it took me like an hour, and then in 5 minutes you just drew a hand a couple days ago that looks awesome. And I feel like you didn't have to draw that hand, Lisa. I just feel like that was just like a way to just like give it to me a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like, why would you even do that? Like that's like the best hand.
I was thinking the exact
I know
thing
you
when I
thought
saw
of
it.
that as you drew that hand. Like, admit it.
It might as well have had one finger raised.
Yes. Like tell me you didn't think of Dustin and think, I'm really killing it on this hand in 5 minutes.
It's funny you say that, because when I posted, I thought, oh my gosh, I hope Dustin doesn't think that I'm like doing this in retaliation. But you know what happened was, after your after your post, I thought to myself, I actually haven't done hands like in years. So
I'll make it even worse now. I can't remember the last time I did a hand. Here's a perfect one.
Now that he's down, let's start kicking him in the nuts and the stomach.
So I have to admit that that particular post comes from me watching a Skillshare class on, like, the human body and drawing parts of the human body, and part of it was the hand. So that was after me watching the class. So it's not like out of my head. Yeah.
Okay, I got a serious question for you, Lisa. What would you say is or has been your most favorite thing about the challenge and your least favorite thing?
Can I have two most favorite things?
Yes.
Okay, the most favorite thing has been me forced to not think too much about what I do. I have to just do it. So there's no time to overthink the drawing. I have to commit and just go. And at the same time, it's also because of that, it's forced me to, ahead of the time, break down the subject matter into shapes, which I know you're supposed to do anyway when you're illustrating, but this, I don't have a choice. I have to. Otherwise, it's going to look like a pile of crap. Okay, so that's been a good thing. My least favorite thing, which is what I actually wanted to speak to ask Dustin about, because he mentioned it, was there's this kind of thing that hangs over your head the whole day before you actually do the drawing. So it's like, you've got this chore and you've got to do it. Well, it shouldn't be a chore, but you know what I'm saying. It's like something that hangs over your head. So until you do it, it's like a monkey on your back, Yes. So that's not the best part of it. But I guess it's necessary. Otherwise you won't stick to it.
Is it worth doing it first thing?
I don't know. There's something wrong with me. I always plan, literally every day I plan to do it first thing, but I never do. There's something wrong with me. I don't know.
I always think money comes first. And so I work on things that directly
really? Is that why you...
with money. And then I do it in the evening because I'm like, this doesn't make me any money and I have to pay for now a third baby. So
stop having babies, man. They're expensive.
trying to slow it down, trying to slow the pace down.
Yeah, don't turn that into a 100-day challenge.
I mean, I can
really good at it.
That challenge could also be called like How to Ruin Your Life.
We'll bleep that out in case Dustin's wife is listening.
No. I mean, if you were trying to, never mind. We don't need to go down this rabbit hole.
I don't think your body could take it.
Okay, so I got a question for both of you guys. What is the future of these feeds, if any? Or is it are they just going to be?
Well, I can tell you now, I've had a few people already contacting me that they want to buy some of them, which is quite bizarre.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so I think for me, I might take some of them and kind of
make it into
expand.
A book. Make it into a book.
Yeah, the first thing I think of it, this would be cool on my lounge sort of wall, like little, tiny little printouts. I don't know.
My daughters would love if each of them represented a letter and they had to look at them and name the letter. They would love it if it was like on little cards.
Oh, I love the colours.
The
colour panels.
It could totally be a book for learning how to read.
Yeah.
That's true.
My daughters would love it. Like, it's the colors they love. It's like pictures of things they love.
And that's like a big market, like children and illiterate people.
Yeah.
For some reason, I'm really drawn to the penguin, the dancing penguin.
Really?
Yeah, don't know why.
It's probably the pink. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's quite cool, though. And I like that it's, that's happening after a month and a half. And that's obviously testament to your talent, but also to, I think, how much consistency and focus can pay. Because it becomes like, I think the thing about consistency on social media and with your design work, it becomes like a TV show in a very micro form that people tune into every day and look forward to.
Yeah.
And that's very cool. It's not sporadic. It's not sloppy. They know what they're going to get. And it becomes something they can anticipate.
And the other nice thing, I don't know if Dustin has the same, is that because I illustrate for a living, there's this sense of it's a job, whereas this feed is not. It's just completely just for fun, and it's a nice way to bring back that whole thing of just drawing for the fun of it. And
Oh my gosh, yes.
and I think a lot of us, especially as adults, we forget to do that, and this has kind of in a way forced me to do that. I know this sounds terrible that you have to be forced to do that, but sometimes you do have to be forced to do that, because as adults we have to kind of almost be forced to be removed from our adult life and learn how to play again. And
Mm-hmm.
this has kind of done that.
I feel like the license to know that it wasn't for anything and that there was no expectations made it so. I would have never made it if I had been like, retro supply drawing of the day. I would have collapsed under the pressure and died. Like, it had to be completely disconnected, and nothing is ever going to come of this except I'm just drawing.
Yeah. So, on that same note, Dustin, have you got any plans, or are you just going to play it by ear and maybe you learn something new for 100 days?
Well, this actually led to, so I wrote a lot of these, and one of the my favorite part by far of doing this was people started responding a lot, and I started building relationships with people that would respond just very regularly. I mean, really, you got to know people. These people feel like they don't feel like they're friends. I mean, I talk to them almost every day. So a lot of them liked the messages. We would talk about the things I wrote that I was thinking, and that's why this kind of like led to, maybe like I'll start like a little blog, like, or a Medium page where I just write about stuff. So it's kind of funny. Like, you just never know. I wouldn't have done that had I not done this. So it's like weird how things play into new things,
Yeah. We've talked about that before, where these paths open up and you don't have to be set down one of them. Like, these branches open up when you just do stuff and try stuff, and it's up to you which ones you want to explore.
So true. And people will start telling you, like, this is what I like, this is what I don't like.
Nice. So I would say that that's hopefully a good snapshot for people, and a good amount of context on what the pair of you are doing. Taking this back to the listeners, I mean, hopefully, if you are listening along, you can take some pretty clear pointers based on what we're already discussing that's relevant for you. But how can we take this right back to the listener to benefit them?
If you're in a place that you feeling a little frustrated because you feel like you have this dream and you're dabbling, but you really want to get somewhere with it, whether it's design or illustration or hand lettering or whatever, take yourself seriously, commit to doing it every day, and I promise you, you will actually see a massive improvement without fail, within, I mean, in such a short time as well. It's not even, as you said, Dustin, like in 100 days. Look how you've improved, and in my short time, I can see my own improvement just in how fast I do things.
You can see improvement in yours, and you're already excellent.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and that's the thing. It doesn't take long time to see improvement. So commit and you'll never regret.
I would say start doing something, and don't put pressure on yourself to make it great, but start doing it every day, and remember, what makes the difference is not how well you do it, but can you do it on the days when you don't feel like doing it, whether you feel tired or you don't feel like you have enough time, or something else is happening that really makes it so this day you can't do it. If you can just think of it more as, I'm going to do this every day that I promised myself I would, and understand that some days will be bad, some days will be good, you'll see massive improvement. You have permission to be bad. That's fine. But do it every day.
Yes.
I think using analogy, because I like analogies, that if you think, there's an app you can get which is called Couch to 5K. So you want to try and do some running, and you want to lose weight, and you want to get fit. You don't go out, like the first lesson is not go out and go run a 5K. It's go out for, 5 minutes, and you walk, and then you do a bit of running. And then you steadily, increase that every day or whenever you go out. And there's, the app encourages you, and you build up until you get there. And the thing is that you have to feel it's like that. You have to go out and you have to post, and it might not be very good, and you might not go very far in the first few ones, but it's that steady progress that you can look back and be proud of. And then when you get to that, 5K, I doubt you're going to stop you're going to go, oh, I like this. I can see the benefits. And so I'm going to continue and maybe set another goal, and that might be 10K. But you don't then go straight from 5K to do 10K. You then build it up again. So I think, it's great to have these sort of goals because you can, but not expect it to sort of like after 5 days. And you have the patience. If you give yourself, I suppose, a limit, you can look and get to that milestone and think, okay, what have I learned? What can I see a progress? Can I see what I've done over those times? And it definitely, you get to that time, you don't get to one end, you just think, I've done nothing. When I started running, I could barely breathe when I got back. And now, like, I can do it and it's fine. And I can, go the distance. But I think you have to go through that to process to really turn yourself around. And I think it's just like that with that creativity and with that honing your skills and stuff like that. It does take time, and that's why you get rewarded by either through just the encouragement you can see your work getting better, but also through someone reaching out and say, really like what you're doing. Could you do some illustration, some lettering, whatever that may be for me? And it's just that bonus, exactly. I keep hammering on about it and why social media growth is important through many stages, but one of them being consistency. You pop up consistency, is good for the algorithm, and just people like seeing people regularly, We got to especially through Dustins, we got to know him a lot better through his struggles, through his, how he feels about, when his dad died and stuff like that, really deep stuff. And that's why people sort of reached out, because they got to know him over that period of time, and he's, authentic and stuff like that. So yeah, there's so much that can come through doing these exercises or, stuff like that. Yeah. So,
I mean, if we could get everyone listening to start a daily challenge, that would be pretty groundbreaking.
Yeah. Wow.
In fact, let's, I mean, I would say possibly go with the hashtag honest designers, because that's what a lot of the people already doing the challenges have been using. But seriously, if you're listening and you're going to try this as just a bit of personal creative expression, consistency, learning social media better, whatever your reasons are, tag us in, hashtag honest designers, purely so we can actually tune into your journey, leave some encouraging feedback, answer any questions you might have. And also, I want this to be a bit of a community effort. I want people to be checking out each other's challenges, following each other. And I truly the fact we've already seen a dozen or so people start these without any real prompts.
It's so exciting.
They've all now got their own audiences and their own fans, and the whole thing's kind of building. It's really, really cool. And these things always have humble beginnings, but why don't we try and make this something? So if you are listening and you feel inspired, just get started today and tag us in, and you will get other people listening to the show checking out your work through that hashtag.
Totally. I think it would be fair to say, anytime someone, if you're feeling in a rut or you're feeling like something needs to change in the way that you run your business or your life or whatever, everything that turns into something that changes the world or your life or whatever it is something small every day. It really is. So if you're in a rut, it will change things. You can just look at Meg. Meg started doing that, and I feel like this is just I feel something like a gem in her life, something she enjoys, that she really values now, that is, been important.
And look how good she is now. She's brilliant.
Yeah.
No, it's amazing. And I just also want to add that I know often people get discouraged putting in the hard work, every day. It can seem like hard work, but if I just analyze my short journey, I actually, as much as sometimes it was a pain and it kind of hangs over your head and it feels like a chore, and I would never want to take away that process. I think the process of doing it every day is so important because I've learned so much along the way. And if I just jump from 0 to 100 drawings and didn't go, in between, you miss out on all the stuff that you learn about yourself and about the craft and about your skill and all the other good stuff, along the way. So just remember, even though it feels a little bit like a chore some days, it's worth it. It's worth every minute that you spend on it.
I was reminded, just to sort of finished, I was reminded of Forrest Gump when he just goes out running one day and he just goes, I felt like running. And it's that sort of thing I just felt like drawing. And he created this movement where people would follow him and stuff like that. And he didn't advertise or anything like that to do it. He was just running, and people just jumped on with that. And they love seeing.
I love that movie.
They just love seeing someone's journey. They see the process, where they've been, where they're going, stuff like that, and then joining on. And it looked like fun, so people would join on too. So I think that's the great thing about what we've seen with you two, just seeing that journey really, and being able to join in. The conversation really helps. I think what social media is, the conversation really helps to motivate and to engage and to encourage.
Yeah, exactly.
So go do it. Everyone listening, go start your own.
Do it.
Mm-hmm.
And Ian and I need to kind of take our own advice here as well.
Well, yeah.
Yes.
We need to jump back on it. But yeah, thanks so much for tuning in, guys. We will be back, of course, next week. And we have some more amazing guests. Hopefully everyone enjoyed the episode last week with Aaron Draplin, which was a blast. And believe it or not, we have some equally huge guests lined up. We've got a bunch of very cool topics as well. So I hope you're enjoying the show. Bye from all of us.
See ya.
Cheers. Bye.
Thanks so much for listening to this week's episode. We hope that you're feeling inspired to start putting out more creative work each day. It will be real work, but there are so many benefits, from rediscovering your creative passion to honing your skills and building a loyal following. As always, you can find full show notes for this episode over at honestdesigners.com, or find us over on iTunes by searching for The Honest Designers Show. As always, it would mean the world to us if you took just a moment to leave us a quick review over on iTunes, as this is one of the best ways for other folk to discover the show. Thanks again for tuning in, and we will see you next week right here on The Honest Designers Show.